This is Brand Rescue, a marketing and PR podcast for businesses who want the real deal, not trendy fluff or complicated funnels. From PR to paid ads, we share free advice that actually works because mediocre marketing is so last season. If you're ready, your marketing comeback starts right now. Hey friends, welcome back. We have another awesome interview for you today. This lady and I could not even stop chatting to hit record. So I know that we're going to have such a fun conversation and y'all are going to love hearing what we're going to chat about. So I want to introduce you to Lexi Romano. She is a TV host and media personality, and she's our guest for today. Welcome to the show, Lexi.
Whitney, thank you so much for having me. Yes, you're totally right. We've already been chatting for almost a half an hour, so we'll just keep the convo going. It's going to be great.
We should have just hit record from the beginning, but we were talking, I digress. Hurricanes, Southern accents,
Yes, I like
New York accents, all the things. So, all right. Well, I love to kick this off by allowing our guests to kind of share a little bit about who they are, what they do, and kind of how did you get there? So I'll let you take it from there.
Well, thank you so much, Whitney. Thanks for having me. So I come from a background of live performance. I'm a singer and I worked on cruise ships and I lived in New York City. So that's kind of where I get my roots. Was doing like the off-Broadway stuff and tours. And then my husband and I actually met working on a cruise ship. He came out here to Arizona to get his master's at ASU, and I followed, and that was about 8 years ago. And when I came out here, I decided I wanted to jump more into television hosting, media, and that was when I started my show that I hosted for many, many years and produced called Phoenix Finds. And that was a wonderful opportunity for me to kind of ingratiate into the Phoenix community. I got to know so many wonderful business owners through interviewing them. The show was incredibly successful. We were an award-winning show. It aired on Channel 4, Channel 7, and on Fox. And actually this last year, 2025, at the end of 2025, we sunset the show, we had our final episode. And now as we have kicked off 2026, I've really been diving into and exploring the world of content creation, spokesperson work, and still helping brands get visibility and get seen, but I said this to you earlier, but without having to produce a whole television show.
Oh, 100%. That's a heavy lift.
It was. It really was.
I love it. So tell me what types of brands that you work with.
So I really love working with local brands. That has been my passion. That was kind of the entire theme of Phoenix Finds, was highlighting local brands and businesses, interviewing them, interviewing the CEO or the owner or the manager, whoever it was, hearing their story firsthand from them and getting to share it with my audience. So I really have a passion for small local businesses, but now with this new kind of opportunity, it's allowing me to work with brands that are maybe national, maybe in different states, maybe in neighboring states, or just a little bit bigger brands, because I'm no longer kind of sectioning off to just Phoenix, just Arizona. I'm opening up to telling stories for anyone and helping people get the word out.
I love it. I do think one of the first questions most people will ask, especially if they're not in my industry, right? Like as a PR person, I know exactly what a content creator is. But I think other people, their first question is going to be like, oh, okay, so she's an influencer, right?
Yes. And you know what? That's a great point, because that word influencer makes me like cringe a little bit. Like, nothing against anyone who does that for a living and who loves to do it. It's just not something that I ever wanted to call myself.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, what I've decided that a title that fits better what I'm doing is content creation and spokesperson. So this way I'm able to tell the story of the brand, and it's not just me saying, hey followers, I use this lipstick every day and here's why I like it. It's instead me coming into working with a brand and saying, how can I tell your whole story? Not just why I, Lexi, like you and everybody should buy it because I like it. How do I help you tell a full story? So that brings in my love of storytelling, my love of getting behind the why for these business owners, and kind of peeling back the curtain a little bit and saying, "This is the brand that you know and love, and let me show you a little bit more about why you would love them."
Sure, and the content that you create is actually more for their platforms, right? It's not
Mhm.
like I mean, yes, you have a healthy following yourself and people are interested in what you know and like, but your content that you're doing for them is really more for their platforms, right?
100%. So the term in the industry is UGC content, user generated content. So what that means is that we can create content together and I can share it to my audience, you can share it to yours, or the brand can just share it to theirs. So it really is me coming in and kind of being the face that people need. Say there's a business that they want to get their message out there, but the CEO just does not want to be on camera. No
Mhm.
worries. Your brand shouldn't suffer just because you don't like the idea of creating content or you don't want to be in front of the camera. That's where I can come in. I can help you create content. I can help you generate ideas. I can help you get the word out. And then you have all this content that's been made for you by someone who would resonate with your audience. And then you're free to share it in whatever way you like, or I can share it. We can mix and match with things like that. But the main point is getting that story out there. And that's what I love to do
Mhm.
is share stories.
For sure. I think there are some industries, like the first thing that came to my head was like a physician. We had a functional medicine practice years ago as a client, and the lead physician, that man was a genius, and he was so handsome and young, and when
Mm.
you talk to him in real life, he was so great, and you could pop off about like this is happening, and he could go down this whole rabbit hole of the origin and how what could be the root cause of that, and just
Mhm.
the amount of knowledge pouring out of this man's mouth was insane. But if you put a camera in front of him, he turned into a robot and, like, and just was so frozen, and,
Yeah.
and we do a lot of media coaching to, like, help people kinda soothe their but I really always genuinely felt like he was the thought leader of that business.
Mhm.
No matter, if we so in that situation, I feel like maybe a content creator is not a great fit because
Mm.
he's the physician, he's who they're gonna interact with, he's the one who has that very, high level knowledge about something
Right.
obviously very crucial, like someone's health, but
Right.
I do think, on the other hand, that there's, like, so many brands that need a face, and it does and this okay, let's talk about furniture. Like, furniture, it doesn't matter, the CEO is not sharing thought leadership about,
Right.
material styles, like,
Mhm.
in situations like that, I feel like a content creator is golden.
Well, here's the thing. I want to talk about both of those things because yes, if you are working with a physician, someone who has this high level knowledge that obviously I do not have years of medical
None of
training
us
and I'm
do,
not
yeah, none of us do.
yeah, I'm not going to be able to like share that with people in the way that he could, but something that I could do is come in and do a talk back with him and do my best to help him feel like it is just a conversation so that he's not staring into a camera going, panic, awkward, wooden, ah. So that's one thing that a spokesperson can do is that you can be the person to bounce off and act as the audience. Hey,
Mhm.
I'm just a person. Look at me, talk to me, and then we can capture content from that. But then to your other point of a furniture store, yeah, there are a ton of amazing CEOs out there who are great business people who know how to sell you on some beautiful patio furniture that's going to be wonderful and you're going to use it all the time. But maybe they get in front of the camera and it's the same thing. They freeze up, they get awkward, they lose their words. That is where a content creator can come in, a spokesperson can come in and memorize all of this material, say it clearly and easily, and communicate it well to your audience.
Totally. I think, one of the things we work in my agency on is like, how do you humanize a brand? Because what I
Mhm.
do know from, I don't want to say how many years of experience, but a lot. Um, but what I do know is that people connect with people. People don't connect with a patio table. You know what I
100.
mean? People connect with seeing a family, sitting at the table laughing or a grilling, they're grilling out or things like that.
Yeah.
People connect with people. Same thing with a doctor's office, We can promote his office all we want, but when you hear him speak and you hear his knowledge, you connect and you're like, "That man could help me." you
That's the
know?
person I want to help me. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's and I always ask our clients, like, how can we humanize your brand? So,
Mhm.
like a hotel. A hotel is a building. It's four walls. And yes, you have lots of people inside of it, but when you're promoting that on social media or your website or whatever, how do you humanize it so people can connect with that?
And that's where a good UGC content creator or a spokesperson comes in because they can say, "Hey, I've traveled. I've been to a hotel before. Here's what I enjoyed and experienced when I was at your hotel, or I was traveling for this reason. It was business, it was pleasure, it was this. And here's what I did, and here's why I loved it. And I think your audience will resonate with that. So let's do a video that shows how easy the check in process was. Because Lord knows when you've been traveling, you're tired. All you want to do is get to your hotel, get your key, and check in. You don't want a long hassle. So let's tell that story. Let's talk about these amazing amenities that you guys have. Let's talk about the fact that while I'm here for this boring business meeting, I'm going to sneak away and get a massage on my day off at the incredible spa. I'm going to go to the bar and enjoy this world-class menu at the eat-in restaurant here in your beautiful hotel. Whatever it is. Those are all just ideas that UGC creators can be bringing to you. And I know this is a lot of what you do in your industry, but it can tie hand in hand when you're working with UGC creators or an agency. There's more brains are better than just one. So
Oh my
anytime
gosh.
people with storytelling.
We love working with content creators and influencers. We have a great relationship, and we try to explain to our clients the difference all the time because, like we said
Mhm.
earlier, like nobody knows the difference. They're just like,
Right.
yeah, you come in, you get free stuff, and then you post it, and we make $1 million.
Mhm.
That's if only it worked that
If only
easily.
that simple. Yes.
Yeah, I know, right? But we love it because what we've noticed in social media is that content performs better. We have produced, gosh, I want to say 2 years ago, a 50 or $60,000 photo shoot for a hotel. And it was a
Whoa.
yeah, we did stills and videography, all lifestyle content, models, hair, makeup, 6
The
different
whole
teams on
thing.
set and everything.
Yeah.
We produced all of that. And it's beautiful, but when we test it on social media, the
Mhm.
curated images versus the UGC stuff that we get from content creators or influencers, you know what performs better?
I
The
know.
more native stuff. And for
Yeah.
anybody listening, I hate people that use like industry jargon and then everyone's like, what the heck does native mean? That just means it's not fully curated professional. Like it looks like it was shot on a cell phone, right?
Mhm.
And what's cool is that resonates with people more. So I tell our clients, I'm like, you should be freaking excited. Like you don't have to spend 50 grand on a photo shoot anymore to
Yeah.
look so buttoned up on Instagram. People don't want buttoned up anymore.
No, it's true. That is the new. I was just talking with a good friend of mine 2 nights ago who is a very big influencer here in town, and she's amazing and she's made a whole career for herself, and I'm incredibly proud of her. But I was asking her, like, hey, I'm just curious, what do you think the future is for social media and creation and brands? And she said, I really think it is small creators who can help tell a story with authenticity. It is not about this whole put together, this beautiful, I have 1 million followers and I'm gonna curate this amazing. It really is those short clips that tell a story, that get the behind the scenes, that get the why and the I don't want to say the underbelly because that sounds gross, but just like the underneath part of
The
what a
real.
the
Yeah.
realness, yes. People wanna see something raw and real. They don't wanna see things that are so polished anymore because we feel like we are just inundated all the time. So when something feels real and we can connect with that, and that is where a good UGC or spokesperson comes in because they
Mhm.
find a way to connect in a real way with their brand and share that.
Totally, and I also think now with AI, like, we trust nothing.
Ugh.
You see something and you're like, "That mascara did not make her lashes do that, that's AI."
Right?
Like, we see a hot man on a dating profile and we're like, "That his muscles are not that big, that is
He
AI."
AI'd
We're
that.
like
He AI'd this.
like,
He face
we
tuned this.
we trust nothing, but you know what I think it
Mhm.
actually started with, and this is, again, aging me, but reality TV. was
Ugh.
supposed to be real, and I think when it first came out, we all bought into it and we thought all of that was real, and now we woke. We're a little more woke now,
Yes.
to how most of those reality, air quotes, shows are completely scripted, right?
Oh,
I think the difference
100%.
is that, the only reality to it is that the people on the shows are not celebrities. They're just
Mhm,
random people, and so I
mhm.
guess that's how they're still hanging on to the title of reality because let's just be real, all of that is scripted.
Oh, yeah.
But I think there's something refreshing when you see a brand that shows a real person
Mhm.
using or whatever their product, showcasing the product, and they actually get I think this is also why people look at Yelp.
Oh,
You've got people uploading like photos of half-eaten burgers on there, but people want to see what the burger actually looks like, not the curated perfect burger on the Burger
that's
King
on the
commercial.
menu. Right,
Yeah,
right.
like, that's not what it looks like when you go through the drive-through and you pull it out of the bag and it's smushed into a million pieces, like or all the
100%.
the stuff is oozing out. It's like we are just in a world full of AI and quote unquote reality. It's like we are starving for realness.
And here's one thing that I will say. There is realness and there is a very delicate way that as influencers, content creators, we can share that because there was an influencer, I'm sure if you're in Arizona, you remember all this drama. There was an influencer who got a lot of heat for calling out a brand. And here is the problem is that well, there were several problems with that situation, and I am not trying to bring any hate to her. I have respect for her as a creator, but she said things about a brand that a lot of people know to not actually be true. So
Yeah.
if you are going to work with the brand, you as the content creator have to be authentic, whether that is saying this brand is amazing or this brand is not amazing. We are going to know online because we have been so inundated with the fake that we all now are looking. Is that real? Is that not real? Does she really like that? Or is she just saying that it's good? I'm not going to go there because it doesn't look like it was actually good. Oh, but this place, I know I've been there. So her saying it's not good, I know it's good. So
Yeah.
we have to be really, really, really careful as the people on my side of the chair who are working with the brands. You have to know where your integrity is and
Mhm.
bring that to the job. And so that is something that's really, really a challenge, but I think is a very important thing to kind of point out and remember that we are going to put our faces on something. We have to stand by it.
Yes, I remember when that happened, and we actually did a podcast episode about that,
Hmm.
and it reminded me why we do business the way we do, but, for anybody listening, the long and short, basically, I think she said that the flavor tasted fake, but
Yeah.
that business was actually known for sourcing, like, very fresh pistachios directly from Italy or something like that
Yeah.
was, like, their calling card, and she was like, "This
Mhm.
tastes fake," and it was like, "Actually, they're shipped directly from Italy," but,
Yeah, and so that
uh
that whole controversy was, uh it was rough to watch it play out,
No.
and I'm sure it was for you. As someone who's in the industry, who knows both parties, it was rough to watch it play out, but that's the thing is in this world of trying to get views, trying to get your name out there the authenticity and the integrity, I think, will stand the test of time, I guess.
Totally, and I think one thing that we do that has been so helpful when we do a campaign with an influencer or if we engage a like a UGC content creator, one thing we do is send them talking points. And for anybody listening out there, if you've got a campaign coming up, we actually send them talking points to educate
Mhm.
them about the business. I do not send them a freaking novel of 26 pages about the whole history of the business. I give them the high level 10 to 12 cool things that they need to know. And especially when you're dealing with an influencer, I don't write it so formally, I write it in
Right.
the same way they would talk about it on camera, and
Conversational.
we
Yeah.
exactly. So we give them those bullet points and we always say to them, "Hey, we want to share this with you. Just know we are not, especially as an influencer, we're not trying to control your messaging at all. We want you to do what feels authentic because that's why people are following you. They like your vibe, they like your voice, they like your
Yeah.
feel. But we just want to share some of these points with you so you can have some back knowledge about the business and feel really
Yeah.
confident talking about some of the facts. And, I've had some people that are like, "Oh, they'll be mad because 'cause you're trying to tell them what to say." And I'm like, "No,
Oh.
we're not trying to tell them what to say. We're just trying to give them info so they feel educated,
You're
and they
giving
can
them a
take it."
baseline. Yeah.
Yeah, they can take it or leave it, but what's amazing about it is that a lot of them are really, really grateful for it, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, thank you," and they end up using a lot of that content, which then makes our clients so happy because the content creator, the influencer, whoever is literally hitting on the highlights of the business that we wanna talk about, So I think it really honestly helps both parties,
Mhm.
to just send it for sheer education purposes.
I'll tell you, I worked with a brand recently, and I'll call them out because they're an amazing local brand, and I reached out to them because I stand by them. So I recently worked with Mountainside Fitness because I organically create content for them all the time because that is my gym. That's where I go. I love it. I've gone since my son was born 2.5 years ago, and I've always loved it. But I reached out to them recently, and we did get to work together. And something that they sent me, which I was unaware of and was able to work into some of my posts, was that their 35th anniversary was coming up. I
Oh.
didn't know that. So I know that they're still working on some stuff to make the big announcement and to share everything. But that was something that I didn't know. So when they shared that with me, I was able to have a new perspective, kind of highlight different things. And it wasn't that they were telling me you have to say this and you have to get this
Right.
in there. They were just like, just so you know, our 35th anniversary event is around the corner. And so we're so proud. We've been a staple in the Valley for over 3 decades. So that just helps me to know, oh,
Mhm.
great, I have a little bit more context.
Yeah, and something to talk about other than your favorite machines or,
Yeah.
the childcare or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, uh, of course, I'm a PR person, so it's always finding what is new and what's newsworthy, you know?
Yes.
What do people care about and why should they care, And I think that's
Mhm.
why, like, the work you do is so valuable.
Thank you. Well, I've said like 17 times already, I love to tell stories. That's what makes me so overjoyed in life, whether it's, as a performer, singing a song, telling the story that comes out of the words in the song, whether it's being a TV host and sharing someone's story, or whether it's creating UGC content or being a spokesperson. I just want to get people's message out there.
Yeah, I love that. So if somebody's thinking like, actually, this is a great idea, and maybe they've never explored it before, what would you say is like the first step if they're thinking about working with a content creator?
I think finding a content creator who aligns with your business, because then it is going to naturally gel the best. I mean, we talked about that authenticity and integrity. So I maybe wouldn't be the best UGC creator or spokesperson for a brand. I don't know.
John Deere. John Deere. You don't seem like
Yeah,
a tracker girl. Okay.
no, 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 no. There you go. That's not for me. And
Me
I know
neither.
that. And yes, I accept that. That is not for me. I am an indoor cocktail in hand
Yes.
girly, and I embrace it. So yes, I think finding content creators who it's like these people would naturally already be a customer or a guest here or whatever it is, they align. And there are so many websites and apps where you can find content creators, and there are so many people making really, really, really great content out there. So if you are a tractor company, or you are, I was going to say like a protein, like a protein supplement brand, like for people who are lifting, and that's really, there are so many people out there that you can find who will naturally align. And here's something I do as a content creator. I will sometimes, the things that I am naturally already using, I will just start to create content that shares a little bit about them. I'll find some details on maybe their Instagram or their website, and then I'll just naturally, organically share it with my followers because I do already use this and love this. And so if I can share their story a little bit, maybe someday they would be like, hey, she's already doing this. Let's reach out to her. Maybe she would want to do more. So that's something that I think is it has to be it has to gel. It has to work for both parties, or else it isn't going to be authentic.
Totally. I have a friend that built one of the biggest foodie influencer platforms. I mean, she's
Uh-huh.
huge on every single platform, like millions of followers. And at first she literally just would buy herself dinners and record herself
Yeah.
and, eat on camera and for
Yep.
nothing, literally just because she was like, "This place is bomb and people need to know about it."
Yes.
And before long, people started following
Oh,
her, and then it turned in, but you gotta be willing to start, you know? I think people have this, on both sides of the coin, like, people who want to be, maybe media personalities or social media personalities, and also brands have this, like, fantasy in their head that things happen overnight,
mhm.
of like, we find someone who's great, she holds up this bottle of our vitamins, she's fit and thin, and then we get $1,000,000 in our
Yeah.
inbox the next day. And I think that, I am always trying to explain to clients what top of funnel means.
Right.
Um, and again, that here we go back with, like, industry jargon. I hate all these jargony terms. Basically, top of funnel means, like, the very first moment someone ever hears about you, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
And so I think
It's such
that
a wide expanse of people. So many of them are gonna fall off as you go down the tunnel,
yeah,
so there needs to be that, kind of, like, shedding of
people
getting
who
to
aren't a
that.
fit. Yeah,
Yes.
people who
So,
aren't
yeah,
their
well,
ideal customer.
and so that's another thing. You said, what should brands do who are considering using this for the or doing UGC or content creation for the first time? Working with someone like you would be another thing that I could recommend, because obviously you have a huge Rolodex of people that you know and that you work with who already do this. So I'm sure if John Deere did reach out to you, you'd be like, I got your perfect guy, gal who's going to be amazing and is going to help you get your message out there, and it's going to look authentic and it's going to resonate.
Yes, and I honestly think one of the biggest things, whether it's our agency or someone else, whoever's doing the marketing and PR for a brand, I think one of the most valuable things they can do is helping negotiate the whole deal. Because to me,
Mhm.
finding influencers and content creators, they're everywhere. Everyone
Dime a
wants to be
dozen.
one.
Yeah.
Yes, they're everywhere and everyone wants to be one. That doesn't mean every single one of them is fit for that, but they're easy to find, but knowing how to negotiate that and
Mhm.
also, how they work, we can negotiate something so quickly and so easily because we speak both languages.
Yes.
We're like, "Hey, look, this is what the brand is looking for. We're willing to offer this. You're willing to do this. Boop, 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 sign on the dotted line." Like, it is so
Right.
seamless.
Yeah.
Whereas I think that's why some brands have kind of a sour taste in their mouth. When you say the word influencer, our clients are like, "Oh," it's like
Yeah.
saying propaganda. Propaganda is actually not a negative term, but over the years
Right.
it became a negative term and people associate it with lies.
Mhm.
So, uh, they roll their eyes at the idea of influencers and I'm like, "No, no. If you set up the relationship in a positive way and you have a very clear agreement, everything will pop off. And we have such great relationships with influencers and UGC creators. Like it's amazing. But I think it's having the knowledge of how this whole song and dance works and negotiating something that's beneficial for both sides.
Yeah, no, that's such a good point. And knowing what you're getting into, like you said, speaking the language. And so that is something for UGC creators, educating yourself about this before you just think, oh, I'm going to be an influencer. Learn a little bit about what you're going to be doing, because also, let me just say, it is not all, oh, I'm going to go have a free dinner and take 2 pictures and it's going to be great and easy. It is work, and brands will come
Yep.
back and say, no, re-edit this. Nope, you got to change this. Nope, we agreed to this, 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 and this. You got to make sure you hit. So it is work. It is not pie in the sky easy all the time. It's still work. So make sure, all these people out there who want to do it, and I understand, but make sure you know what you're getting into, and develop those skills as you would with any other career, any other job.
Totally.
Learn what you're doing, get comfortable with it, and yeah, then I think you can have a lot of success.
100%. I laugh because in the agency, we get hundreds of resumes.
I'm sure.
hundreds. And I interview people, and the first thing I'm like, "So what interests you about this industry?" And if someone says to me, "It just seems so fun," I'm like, "And we're done here." Um, I
Thank you.
yeah, so our age people, it was Sex and the City, right? Samantha was this PR girl, New York
Yes.
City. She got reservations at all the hot spots. She wore all the
Mhm,
cute business attire. She was never stuck in an office all day long. She took her phone calls and she had her connections and
mhm, mhm.
here and there, and it was so sexy, right?
Yes. Yes.
So we glamorize that. And now the modern day is Emily in Paris. People, all these
Yes.
Gen Zers are watching. I mean, I'm watching it too, but the Gen
Same.
Zers are watching Emily in Paris, and it's painting this like glamorized, it's so easy. We
Advertising
posted this.
world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever the season 5, they did they launched the brand at her boyfriend's little city, and then all of a sudden a million
Wow.
tourists show up the next day, and
Yes.
all
Mhm.
of that from just one post, and the mom of the brand is so mad, like, "See, I told you I didn't wanna get on social media, now everyone's our town is overrun with tourists." Like,
Right.
this is painting such a BS, image of
Picture. Yes.
yes, of what it is to work in our industry, mine and yours, you know what I
Mhm,
mean? Like, so it's
mhm,
so funny to me, the people that want to work in our space and then they get into it and they're like, "I had no idea." Like, I thought I was
mhm.
just gonna go to, like, cocktail parties and, like, do launch events and, like, drink martinis, you
Yeah.
know? Like
I mean, if that job exists out there where I can just, like, go to parties and drink martinis all day, great, like, sign me up. Yes, there is so much work that goes into it and people don't see because it is the behind the scenes. It's the behind the
Yes.
scenes, it's the training, it's the preparation, it's the work that has gone into before learning how to write a press release, learning how to write a pitch deck, learning how to edit your own videos, all
Yeah.
of these things, like, it is not easy and it is not simple and it is not for the faint of heart, which is why there are so many aspiring because
Yeah.
people it's they think they wanna do it and then they get into it and they can't quite.
Yeah, you gotta run uphill in sand for a long
Yes.
time, so that's why I have mad respect for you and other people who do your industry, like, do what you do really well, because you do have to run up and uphill in sand for a long time till you get to
Thanks,
the
girl.
point where brands come to you and brands respect you and brands want to work with you, like, it is not people don't see the hustle that goes behind all of this, so
100%.
mad respect to you, Lexi, because you do such a
Wow.
great job, and I love all your content, so
Aw, thanks, girl. Same to you. Clearly, you are doing amazing, and obviously, you are like a pillar in your industry and in our community. So, thank you so
oh, well,
much.
of course. Well, I this has been so amazing, and I'm so glad you came on the show. I know
Yay!
everybody wants to go check out some of your content, but if they wanna connect with you or see some of your content, tell them how to find you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and on TikTok at Lexi Romano underscore. And then my website is lexiromano.com.
Awesome, and we will drop all of that in the show notes for you, Lexi. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Maybe we'll have to do a round 2 because I feel like in a year from now, like, everything we just talked about will be so different, you know?
Probably. All the
So,
algorithms will have changed. Everything will
yep.
have changed. So, yeah. But next time we'll have martinis.
I'm so here for that. So, all right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We will see you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in to Brand Rescue. For more practical marketing and PR support, head to yourmarketingheroes.com.